guys and gals? Nary here from Drake Wayne Gaming, as some of you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon today. I'm coming back at you into the Let's Play episode of Temptation's Ballad. So, y'all, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm Chan, you are up, and let's go! Hope you all are having a wonderful morning. I know I am, because today is the day that my mate is coming to live with me. That's right. There's going to be a new person in the house, and they're going to... You're probably going to hear them in the background from time to time, because they do love to listen to me, so they'll be able to listen to me in real life. So, I'm very excited, y'all. Very, very excited for my partner to be coming here tomorrow. Oof, I got butterflies. Ooh, got butterflies. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right in, shall we? Alright. Artemi stared up at Maeve's distant, serious face with wonder. She's the heir and leader of this growing house? Incredible! She's hardly older than I am, Calder scoffed. That is hardly a praiseworthy feat. I, too, am the heir of my house, and we are but a few years apart. And you can hardly call House Osmia a true house when she is the only member of it. I hear everyone else in her lineage had perished in the locust famine. Calder sighed and shook his head. Alas, as diminished as this young house is, they still hold a great amount of power. Grandfather has ordered me to consort with them and bring myself unto their good graces. Artemi's brow furrowed as she tried her best to hide her growing dislike of this man. And how will you set about doing that? By winning the jousting tournament, of course. Osmia would be obligated to bestow a boon upon the victor. I will simply ask Lady Osmia for her hand in marriage. Artemi spluttered, utterly flabbergasted. What? Surely she would not be forced to accept such a request. Well, probably not. But she will be obliged to spend time with me as her suitor above all the other men clamoring for her attention. This would give me ample time to charm her into a partnership with House O'Shaughnessy. Artemi glared at Calder with a hard look. House O'Shaughnessy must be quite desperate for influence if they're resorting to such underhanded courtship tactics. And with a druid family they look down upon, no less. Calder spluttered furiously, clearly not expecting such a retort. House O'Shaughnessy is basking in wealth and power these days, I assure you. We are simply networking in search of better allies and companions. Surely you would understand. I do not. Companions and allies should be earned through honesty and mutual trust, not through such unchivalrous schemes. Chivalrous schemes. Calder crossed his arms defensively as he glanced over at Cole and Sid. Oh, and what methods did you use to find these two layabouts? Did you pick them up on the side of the street or something? Actually, we got thrown in jail together. And then we gambled in an illegal fighting ring together. And then we tore down the illegal fighting ring together. Okay, no, that part's on you. Nobody else here could smite a building into rubble. What? The Creator's chosen can't be seen with people like you. Artemi glared at the older hyena coldly. I would take them over your dishonorable, ilk any day. Something in Calder snapped at her words. He whipped his head towards Agatha desperately. You, enchanter! Surely you can see the ridiculousness of this situation. Ah! What? I'm just eating breadsticks in a corner, man. Don't drag me into this. Calder tugged at his hair in frustration. He turned back towards Artemi furiously. I can take your rejection, but the fact that you would place these low-born scum over the likes of me is an insult I cannot stand for. He shot a venomous glare towards Cole and Sid. A filthy mage who denies his own gifts, and an utterly ordinary peasant void of talent and status. Don't make me laugh. Artemi gritted her teeth. Her hand twitched towards her sword. I will thank you not to speak of my companions in such a way. I speak the truth. You are out of your mind if you think either of them are more worthy than I am. Calder's frenzied gaze landed on Sid, who nervously took a step back. You are clearly the weak link of this group. What makes you think you have anything of worth to provide? Sid flinched. I don't? The nobleman's eyes suddenly flashed with a deep shade of arcane velvet. Sid's chest squirmed uncomfortably as he felt the glowing gaze pierce through him like knives. What do you think you're doing? Behind them, Cole instantly recognized the spell and bolted in front of Sid, but it was too late. The detect thought spell washed over Sid like an ice-cold wave. Let me see. Calder let out a cruel, triumphant laugh. Second, y'all. Coffee time. He's illiterate, and an utter mess of a man as well. Oh, my dear Chosen, where did you find this one? Sid felt his blood run cold. Calder's grin grew as he continued sifting through the Badger's mind. Unemployed, fired from at least a dozen jobs. Spends all his time daydreaming about becoming a hero he knows he's incapable of becoming while his parents toil at a thankless job. Oh, and he's adopted, too. This just keeps getting better. Sid growled and took a menacing step forward. Calder didn't even flinch. Shut your goddamn mouth. Shut your goddamn mouth. Oh, hush, you're too delicate to do anything to me. I can read your entire mind, and you agree with me. Calder cackled with delight. You have no idea why these two even keep you around. You've got nothing to contribute and are a waste of their precious time. Oh, sweet Cole, so patient and supportive of you, taking you under his wing and teaching you to read. Something you should have learned ages ago if you were a functioning person. Panic shot through Sid's chest. He whipped around to see Cole staring at him wide-eyed. And dear Artemi! What a perfect warrior, kind and humble and brimming with power, a true personification of the hero you've dreamed of becoming. But you were just an ant standing beneath her. Dispel magic! Artemi lunged forward, fist still flashing with sparks of lightning. She roughly grabbed Calder by the collar and slammed him against the wall of the booth. The wood buckled under the force of her blow as she growled with uncontrolled rage. You go too far, you despicable! Despite being lifted off his feet, Calder managed a goading grin. Oh, but don't you see? He hates you. Your beloved companion utterly despises you. Every time he sees you, his blood boils over with envy. He can't even stand to be in your presence anymore. This is the companion who you so gladly treasure. Artemi faltered. She looked towards Sid, shocked and wounded. But the moment they locked eyes, she saw the Badger's utterly broken expression. She inhaled sharply and turned back towards Calder. Her fist plunged forward with a crack. A shower of splintered wood scattered across the viewing booth as Artemi sank a hole into the wall inches next to Calder's head. Artemi let out a deep breath. You are an utterly vile man, Calder O'Shaughnessy. Give me one reason why I shouldn't beat you senseless. Calder's brave face was shaken after nearly taking an armored fist to the skull, but he managed a confident sneer. Oh, my dear Chosen, have you forgotten where you are? What would the church do when people find out that the Creator's Chosen is an untamed brood who terrorizes the weak? What a shame you would bring upon your dear bishop of a mother. Artemi froze and looked up. The entire arena was silent, all eyes trained on their little booth in the corner. Thousands of shocked spectators, from commoners to nobles, watched Artemi hastily retract her fist from the wooden wall of the booth like a child caught red-handed. She glared at Calder's smug face, voice dipping low. So this was your ploy? The noble shrugged with a smirk. What can I say? I do not take insults well. Anyone who crosses House O'Shaughnessy will be sure to pay the consequences. He laughed gleefully. So what will you do, my dear Chosen? Our audience is starting to whisper and wonder about what is happening down here. I suppose you can continue beating me. That'll do your reputation wonders. If you retreat without a word, House O'Shaughnessy can easily twist inevitable rumors to our advantage. 1 second, y'all. Coffee time. Alrighty. He tapped his chin thoughtfully. Though, I suppose if you groveled at my feet and apologized, I would be open to sparing you the social scrutiny you will undoubtedly face. Artemi growled, gritting her teeth in frustration. The scum of a man deserved no such apology. She had half the mind to beat him into the dirt for his slight against Sid. However, she cannot deny that Calder was ultimately right about her situation. She cannot make a move against him without soiling hers and the church's reputation. Oh, excuse me, and she was in hot water with her excellency to begin with. Her claim to the Creator's Chosen title would be forfeit, and she would likely drag the Knight Commander down with her. A logical course of action was to publicly apologize, but the sight of Calder's smug grin made her blood boil. Oh, are you refusing to apologize? I suppose I should start crying out for help. The Creator's Chosen clearly has malevolent intentions towards me, a helpless citizen. Fine. I apologize. A sharp snap of fingers suddenly interrupted their exchange. Cole's voice reverberated throughout the entire stadium, its voice amplified through prestidigitation. Calder O'Shaughnessy, you have insulted the honor of both my underlings and committed a dire breach of privacy through a detect thought spell. As leader of this adventuring party, I cannot allow this insult to stand. I, Kalladai Bonebreaker, hereby challenge you to a public duel. Curious and excited murmurs instantly swept through the arena as onlookers watched their little group eagerly. Calder whipped around and stared at Cole in shock. Cole gave him an unimpressed look. What? You think Artemi's the only one with a reputation on the line? Your granddaddy won't be very happy to hear that you're involved in a public scandal and then lose to a commoner in a duel. What will people think of your precious O'Shaughnessy name then? You have some nerve. Took the words right out of my mouth, buddy. You violated my lackey's mind and then pinned my other lackey into social suicide. I ain't about to let that slide. Unlike you foppish nobles, we bonebreakers take care of our own. I will crush you. Calder faltered for a moment before sneering. Fine. I, Calder O'Shaughnessy, accept your duel. You cannot hope to defeat me without using that magic you keep so poorly hidden. Say goodbye to your little secret. I, for one, will not be losing to a fraud. Cole's grip on his lute tightened. We'll see. The nobility and festival organizers peered down on the scene below with bewilderment. Apologies, gentlemen. We cannot allow a duel in the middle of the Firefly Festival arena. Maeve Osmia suddenly stood up and waved her hand. Why not, pray tell? As I said earlier, the first day of the Firefly Festival is meant to celebrate the spirit of competition and rivalries with our fellow man. And what better rivalry than the heir of the noble house O'Shaughnessy, the son of Axius' greatest mercenary warrior? I motion that we allow this public duel to commence. The festival announcer glanced nervously between Maeve and the members of the nobility standing behind her. After a beat, he turned back towards the crowd. Very well. Ladies and gentlemen, as an appetizer to our main events, we will be hosting a public duel between Sirs Calder and O'Shaughnessy and Colladai Bonebreaker. We invite the two of you to take your place at the center of the arena. Calder eagerly strutted towards the center of the stadium, already confident in his victory. Artemi and Sid exchanged anxious looks as Cole readied his lute. Cole, are you really intending to expose your magical abilities in this duel? Sir Merrill will surely hear about it. Do you really think you can win? Cole shrugged. Win or lose, everything works out for us in the end. The heat of the situation gets taken off Artemi, and people won't be favorable towards Calder for his shitty stunt. More importantly, he turned towards Sid with concern. You doing okay, buddy? Me? I'm fine. It's nothing. Sorry I dragged us into another mess again. Despite his insistence, Sid's stiff shoulders and clenched jaw betrayed his broken state of mind. Cole placed a firm hand on his shoulder. You did nothing wrong. We're here in this mess because Calder is an asshole. Alright, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right here for a moment. Alright, let me go get some coffee. I'll be right back. After this shitstorm is done, we'll go to Mrs. Shrikewood's for some tea and talk everything out. Sound good? Sid nodded quietly. Yeah. Cole pressed a firm hand to Sid's chest and leaned close. Listen, man. At the end of the day, you're my friend. I don't keep you around because of some pity party or sense of usefulness. I just genuinely like hanging out with you. And I am genuinely better off for having known you. So keep your chin up, okay? Okay. Cole gave him one last reassuring nod before making his way towards the field. A low silence hung in their viewing booth as they watched him leave. After a beat, Artemi quickly sat down next to Sid with a gentle look. You're not angry? Why would I be angry? All that stuff Calder said, about my thoughts. Artemi fell silent for a moment, pondering her next words carefully. Did I do something wrong? Sid curled up on the floor and buried his face in his knees. No! I see. Would it help if I left? Sid sucked in a deep breath of air. No. I like having you around, I really do. You're my friend. I'm just jealous of fucking asshole for feeling like this. Do not apologize for your emotions, Sir Sid. You cannot simply disagree with a feeling. This is just a part of life, as the Knight Commander always says. Artemi shook her head with an incredulous laugh. She sat down on the floor next to Sid with a patient smile. Truly, though, I never imagined myself as someone worthy of such jealousy. Sid snapped up with a patronized glare. You're the Creator's chosen. You were born with ridiculous power and the respect of everyone who knows your name. Common folk like me, well... Calder was right. I'm basically an ant next to you. Quite ironic, as you tower above me in physical height. I'm being serious. Artemi smiled. Perhaps the true irony is that you regarded me as such a perfect individual. In my early years, the Church considered me a defective chosen. Despite these stories about the Creator's blessing me at childbirth, I possessed no such magical abilities as a child. Sid blinked with surprise. That's not what people have been saying. Yes, the Church does have a certain image to uphold, but at the age where most chosen showed signs of great celestial power, I had next to nothing. The healers and arcanists at the Church detected great potential within me, but I had nothing to show for it. I could barely even keep a candle alight. Her Excellency was most furious with me. Artemi grew quiet. The world needed a chosen one to face whatever threat comes its way, and I was not ready to fill that role. That crushing sensation of waking up every day knowing that you're not enough? I suppose I can relate. Some days it grew to the point where I debated whether it was worth waking up to. Sid's chest lurched. I didn't think someone like you would have to deal with this kind of thing. The knight let out a small chuckle. I thought the same of you. You have always struck me as such a kind and reliable man. And more honest than Cole, at the very least. Sid managed a small chuckle. That's not a very high bar. Sid gazed at Artemi, his chest heavy with a confusing storm of emotions. Hey, Artemi? Yes? If you don't mind me asking, how'd you end up waking your powers? And dealing with the crushing feeling? The knight fell silent. After a moment, she gingerly reached into her pocket and pulled out a tiny, aged candle. It was rather short and thoroughly used. There were small impressions in the wax made by a small hand, as though a child had held it in a deathly tight grip. Upon a chosen's death, the blessing of the Creator's chosen passes on to the next worthy candidate. And thus, at the age of 15, I was given an ultimatum. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Leave a super thanks or tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.